Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with the indomitable Suzanne Bandick. She's one of our results coaches and not only amazing human being, but just so good at helping people actually make change as opposed to just hearing ideas that are great and then moving about with their lives. So rarely do we have, most of the time, Suzanne comes up with the topics, be completely honest. This time, to be completely honest, she came up with the topic. But it was something I was rattling in my mind because we both kind of have lots of interaction with our clients from different places. And I think we both came to this, although she suggested it, came to this need for you guys, Clean Nation as a whole, separately. A big thing we're hearing right now as we record this from our clients and just the community is, I don't have enough time. I'm too busy. A lot of, because sometimes it goes, I can't get employees. Sometimes it's more, I'm stuck. I can't grow. And I'm not saying we're not hearing that, but a lot of it ties back to, I'm just running around with chicken with my head cut off. Sometimes it's cleaning, sometimes it's admin, but a lot of it is just, I'm working, Suzanne had mentioned it feels like an infinite amount, and there probably is an infinite amount of things you could do with your time. So we just stay stuck. So I've got thoughts, but Suzanne's got actual strategies. So I'm going to defer to the strategies and shoot out my thoughts inappropriately as the podcast goes on. Suzanne Bandick, let's talk time.
Thank you, Mike. Well, as you were mentioning, I really would love to address what we all deal with. And that is, I feel like I don't have enough time. My to-do list is endless. You don't understand. I have all of these things that I need to get done. I'm so busy. I'm going to suggest that part of this is a story that we keep telling ourselves. And what I'd like to do is address 4 different strategies today to perhaps help alleviate the stress of not enough time.
If I may, let me prove what you said twice, that the feeling, which is a very, very real feeling of I don't have enough time, is completely a myth. So I'm sure you've all heard before and are pretty well aware of the common fact. We have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week each. So if we're not getting the same similar results or having the same effectiveness as the Elon Musks of the world, then we're just not using our time. He's just focusing his time a little better. And you don't have to take it to Elon Musk. Look at the guy or gal in your area, your competitor, that seems to be doing better. He's just allocating time better. And you might say, well, he's got more money. Well, he got the money from allocating time. Like I know in Elon's case, I don't think he was born rich, right? He allocated time. And when he started, he didn't have a bunch of, well, they've got a bunch of time and money and resources, right? But they didn't. They allocated their time in such a way to bring time and money and resources to them. So if everyone was kind of on the same level or other people had different time, those would be variables. You could go, well, that's not fair. He's got more time than I do. Fine, but that's not the case. Or, he started way ahead or not. But I'm guessing there's many competitors in your area that are doing where you want to do, and they have the exact same time, and many of whom started behind you. Second, I forgot my second. I went too long on first. Oh, I was going to use my bride, and I hate using her in anything less than perfect because she's so amazing. But as we've been together for 15 years, and I've started several businesses in that time. And typically at the very beginning, she helps out quite a bit because she's sweet and amazing, and we're just starting. There's not a team. And then as we build a team, she kind of fades out. And what we found for my bride, love you, baby, if you're listening. She's not, so I can say what I want. She'd start with a lot to do. And as we grew, she'd have less to do. We'd offload things to do. And then now she's got our 8-year-old son, which is not a small amount. She runs the house and takes care of me, and she's just the best human being ever. But I think she would agree. She has just a ton less work than she had when she was doing all that, plus helping run the business. Yet she seems just as busy. So it's not because the physical things that had to be done, they definitively got much, much, much smaller, probably 80% less. But she experiences her life as just as busy. And it's, again, not because of outside demands on her time. It's how she allocates the time that she has. So just wanted to give a couple examples of reasons. And maybe you guys have felt that way. Like, man, I'm, feel busier now when I'm doing less. So there you go. There's some proof. Now, Suzanne, let's talk about the 4 ways to actually fix it.
Actually, Mike, you brought up another thought into my head, is one where we often wear a badge of honor for saying, I'm so busy.
So true.
I'm so busy. We consider it a badge of honor that we're looking, almost looking for it so that we can say that. So I'm going to make a suggestion for all of us and all our listeners. And by the way, I need to listen to my own self sometimes, or perhaps my husband when he reminds me.
Even worse.
Yes, it is. Uh, let's just throw that out. There's no badge of honor for being busy. The badge of honor comes from being organized and calm and less stressed.
And that even includes employees. Like, well, but if my employees don't see me as first one in, last one out, they'll think I'm lazy. Nope. Just what Suzanne said, calm, in control. They just want to know the captain's running the ship well. They're not as interested in how many hours a week it takes them to run the ship. They just know chaos equals chaos and calm equals calm in their life.
Exactly. What we do to help calm us is going to show up in every area of our lives, and people are going to notice and they're going to feel more relaxed around us. So first thing I'm going to suggest is separate business and personal, I'm going to say to-dos. The things that you feel you need to accomplish every day on a given basis, separate them. Because if they're all mixed in, it causes more stress. There are times I'm going to suggest in your day that you work and focus on your business. And there are times in your day that I suggest you work and focus on your family or your personal time.
I hear all the time when I'm at home, I feel guilty because I'm not really there. My body's there, but my mind is with my business. And I feel guilty when I'm playing with my kids. I should be working. It's fine. But then they really throw a wrench in it going, but when I'm working, I feel really guilty that I should be home with my kids. So you create this universe where you're just guilty and unhappy all the time. And I love Suzanne's idea of why don't you just give yourself permission? Like right now, I have an 8-year-old son who I love very much. He's at school, but if he wanted attention from me, I'd be like, son, not now. Doesn't mean I don't love him. Doesn't mean I'm a bad dad. It means I want to be focused and present with Suzanne and to an extent, you guys. And there's times, and I have clients that need me and employees that need me and lots of people that need me. I'm playing with my son. And to heck with all of you, I'm going to focus on that. So it's okay to just give yourself permission to go, well, I do this, I'm not going to be guilty. And if you keep feeling guilty, go, then if I'm working, stop working and be with my kids and enjoy that. Or if I'm being with my kids and I feel like I need to work, well, then go work and enjoy that. But this silliness of I'm going to do both and feel guilty always, not only isn't experienced very well the way you go through your business, but it's not even effective. So it's not like it's really good for you, but you hate it. It's like, oh no, you hate it. And it's like if broccoli was bad for you and you hated the taste and you're stuffing it down, like there's not even any redeeming qualities to this.
So I'm going to suggest that, now I lost my train of thought. I'm going to suggest that.
You want thing one of separating business to-dos from,
that you write out the things that are, actually write them down. Okay, well, I'm old school. I like to write it down. Some people, you're going to put it into your phone. These are the things that I need to do that are business. These are the things that I need to do that are personal. And I remember what I was going to say. I was going to say that when you create boundaries to say that this is personal time, this is business time, everyone will learn to respect that. They will respect you and they will respect that. Your children will learn to respect that. Your family will learn to respect that. Your employees will learn to respect that. And it will help them. Okay, so let's go back now. You've written both down. Now, the second point that I want to bring up is there's a book. It was written quite a while ago, and it's called The One Thing. And it's by Gary Keller. And he and his partner created Keller Williams Real Estate. And the one thing is, out of that whole list of all the things that you have to do, pick out what is most important to be done. Now, I understand with kids, you've got this and your life, you've got the shopping, et cetera, et cetera. But try to figure out where that is. But especially in business, pick out the one thing that is most important to do today.
And I would make a distinction between important and urgent. So there will be many things that are more urgent, like if my kid's screaming because he's just punched a friend that's over or been punched by a friend. No offense to my kid or his friend, not the most important thing, top 10 of the most important things in my day, but it's the most urgent. I need to go take care of that now. So understand there's some things that are urgent that need to get taken care of. But what I understand Suzanne to be saying is the most important, like the thing that is actually going to move the meter, not the, breathing is more urgent, but we have some important things we can do as well.
And I try to look at, I will say, revenue. When you're talking about your business, how about the revenue generating activity? Look at the things that can be delegated. Sometimes we think, oh, I have to do it all because I'm the only one who knows how to do it. I do it best. I'm going to recommend that you decide to adjust that thinking and realize that someone else could potentially do it as good or better than you. How many things can you delegate to take them off your plate so you feel more calm and effective as the business leader that you should be? Go ahead.
Having coached for a decade exclusively business or owners of cleaning companies, I can tell you it can all be delegated. So if I had to pick the things that you do as an owner, cast the vision, like where are we going? Why is that important? First, set the culture, which takes a little more effort, and then maintain the culture. Review the financials and make any, and this is like a monthly thing, and make any changes based on that. That's it. That's really, really it. Like, so those are probably, if you're like, I'm guessing without being judgmental, you had a little more along the lines of scheduling. No one else can set the schedule because I don't know what employees live where and how the customers go, and just day-to-day payroll, just nutty, weirdo stuff that's like, and cool thing is, part of why you can listen to us is we've done this 1,000 times. So this isn't a guess or speculation. Over and over and over and over, I promise you, the same people that fight us on, I have to do payroll, scheduling, God forbid cleaning, whatever the case may be, 2 to 7 weeks later are like, I can't believe this was so, it's not only like it worked, but I'm still a little, it's like, why did it take it's so obvious in the rearview mirror, but when it's still ahead of you, it's overwhelming at times.
Right. And they'll say, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
So right now, if you're listening and you're saying, but you don't understand, I really do need to do it. No one else is capable. I really encourage you to say, well, you know what? Mike and Suzanne feel this strongly. They've helped a lot of people with this. Maybe I should move forward in this direction.
Well, it's one of two things. One, you're the one human in the world, and your circumstance is so unique that every other cleaner can hire a scheduler, payroll person, phone answer, customer happiness man, fill in the blank with whatever nonsense you're doing. You're the one unlucky duck that this just won't work for, or you've got some beliefs that are maybe holding you back. Just kind of hold each of those out and go, which is the more reasonable hypothesis, and maybe kind of follow your gut.
Maybe.
Mike Campion here. Do you ever listen to the podcast and go, this is great information, I just wish I could actually get it implemented, and I wish I could get some help? Well, we do that. If you would like either myself or my team's help actually coming up with a plan that's specialized to you and your business, because with these podcasts, obviously we have to be very general and we can only go 20 minutes at a time. If you'd like to jump on a call with myself or my team, go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. We'll jump on a call. There's no charge, and we'll help you get some absolute clarity around exactly what to do next and how to do it. The reason we don't charge for these calls is the plan that we come up with, people want help implementing that. If that's the case, we're happy to talk about it. And if it's not, that's okay too. We're happy to just help you come up with a plan. So if you want to translate the information you're learning here into an actual plan that can change your life, give us a ring, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. Love to either myself or have one of our coaches walk you through and actually personalize the content you get here to where you're at with your business. Talk soon.
Okay, so let's do point number 3, because this is super fun.
Review. One is separate business and personal.
One is separate business, personal, create a list.
2.
Number 2 is look at the one thing. And I'm referring to a book by Gary Keller called The One Thing.
I did want to mention, you mentioned that revenue movers are generally it. I would specify that to revenue movers for sure. And if we were going to be a little more specific, profit movers. A lot of people over focus on revenue, could focus on profit a little better. So if we're going to put a finer point on it, that finer point would be profit. And number 3 is
100% correct. Number 3 is something that's super fun, and it comes from Stephen Covey, and it's called a matrix, a time matrix. Okay. Now, normally you draw a grid. Forget it. All I want to do is cover the aspects. So there are things that we consider. There's actually 4 quadrants that he draws out. But what I want to say is the one quadrant is things that you feel are urgent and important. Okay, those are the fires that we need to put out. Urgent, important, you got to deal with it now. It's a fire, I got to deal with it. Think about your business, think about your family life, and take notes as to what are those fires. Okay. And if you were doing it personal, it would be dental work, your toothaches, you just can't go any longer. You have to get that addressed.
Or if we even go more personal, your wife is saying, not only am I unhappy with the level of work that you're doing, I'm moving out if it doesn't change. Or, so
Yeah.
important would be, I'm unhappy with the work that you're doing. Urgent would be, and I'm leaving at the end of the sentence.
Okay. So, Mike, that's deep. That's really important, urgent.
Well, that's what, that would be I'm trying to take the most important, the most urgent.
Right. So we're going to call that quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is what's important but not urgent. Please take note, everyone write this down and think about in your life, the majority of your time should be spent on things that are important, but before they get urgent. That's where we do the work. We look at the fires and we say, if I do this, it will change that. So for instance, the fire could be somebody calling in that they can't come to work today. It's kind of urgent, important. Right now, you've got somebody who can't come to work. So how do you pre-deal with that? You've got extra staff, you hire a scheduler, you don't have to deal with it. There are a number of things.
But we were now in quadrant 2, which is not urgent, but still important.
Right. My apologies. Okay. But this is where you deal with not having to deal with the emergency.
So this would be, let me give you an analogy. Tell me if I'm understanding. And if I'm understanding, I'm guessing the audience will.
Okay.
Quadrant 1 is something is on fire, literally.
Right.
Like something on fire. I have to put it out. That is both urgent and important. If I don't put it out, the whole place is going to burn. People are going to get hurt. And it's urgent because it's on fire now. Important, not urgent is, you know what? In the last 2 years, we've had 3 fires. There's no fire now, but we should probably put in a sprinkler system. That would be wildly important, but not urgent because nothing is currently on fire.
Thank you, Mike. Perfectly said. So it's the preventative activities. That's what we're doing in the quadrant number 2, which is important but not urgent. That is where we'd do studies. We'd read about how to make our business better. We'd be listening to podcasts, this podcast, how to make our business better. It's not urgent, but it is important because it'll make a difference to our lives.
I would name this quadrant because quadrant 1, urgent and important, is pretty self-explanatory. This one is less so. I would name it the overlooked pile of money. Like this is what we spend the least amount of time on. At the end of the year, when we look back, we're going to remember almost none of quadrant 1 stuff. And if we don't do quadrant 2, then we'll have nothing to look back on. But if we notice big changes in our business, it's going to be the quadrant 2 stuff. And here's the problem. The fire is knocking on your door going, I am burning this place down right now. So pretty easy to identify from an emotional intelligence standpoint. Any dummy or smarty or anyone can pretty much figure we better put this fire out. Number 2 is insidious. It never knocks on the door, right? Like a sales call or somebody calling out. It's there. You got to deal with it. But again, your wife just quietly saying, oh, you're not going to be home again tonight. I understand. And going to bed. No urgency there, and we can just ignore it, but it might be the most important thing going on in your whole goddamn life.
Exactly. And sometimes we're too busy putting out the fires to do the things that are not urgent, but they are important.
To install the daggum sprinkler system.
Right. That's a perfect analogy.
Or fire prevention system, even better.
Okay, so really you want to spend the most of your time in that quadrant 2. Where it's important, but it's not urgent, because that's going to define and calm your entire life. Let's look at 2 more really fun quadrants though, right? So quadrant number 3 is not important, but it seems urgent.
I love what you said. Not important, urgent, because it can't be. Not important, but you say seems. I'm going to take it a step level. Feels urgent, because man, our feelings will lie to us all the goddamn time.
Yeah, these are the emails the interruptions. It's usually other people saying, you don't understand, this is urgent, and they're bothering you in your time when you're working. It's
Boss, you
like,
got a minute? Almost
yeah,
always not important or
it's
urgent.
like the child that broke their crayon and now they're pounding on your door because this seems really urgent.
Let me give I like the extreme ones because if we get the extreme, we can go all the way down.
Uh-huh.
One of our clients, I won't use the name, but you may remember him from the story, had a very large company, and he dealt with a city subway system or public transport system. And in the middle of the night, with his people out, one of his employees punched somebody, or there was a fight, and he was just devastated, and he felt he was just really hard on himself. And a very good business owner, smart guy, and he was like, "I should have been there. They should have called me in the middle of the night." And I walked him through and said, "What have you done after pre the punch? I'm going to punch a guy. That would be helpful to know. But even then, what are you going to do? Get down there and be like, hold on, don't punch for 10. Like there's really, and so we walked him through. And so that would be a perfect example of felt very, very urgent, but frankly wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't important. Well, we looked at his systems and processes. Did you hire the guy properly? Did you assist? Like, was it a reasonable thing? And it turned out like if you've got people, dozens of people in the subway, 365 days a week, in the middle of the night with vagrants and people that have mental illnesses, is it a reasonable expectation that some of this is going to happen, even if you run your business cleanly? And the answer is yes. So when we looked at it, it's like there really wasn't an urgent, it felt urgent as can be. Like I should have been woken up in the middle of the night and I got to go. And he felt like he had to go do a bunch of stuff. And it's like, let's just really look at it. And I'm not saying, physical altercations are not important, but his bases were covered. He'd done it right. Sometimes crap just goes badly. And you have to look and go, I'm going to own my side of the road. What do I need to do? What didn't I do? What should have I done? And we looked at it and he was running a clean and tight business. And it was just one of those things where like, if you're going to put my people in the situation, if this is happening every week, now it becomes urgent and important. But if it happened never, it's like, it felt very urgent to him. And through our conversation, we were able to take him down to it was neither urgent nor really even important. Right. Like he talked to the people and walked through it, but it was neither, but it felt very urgent at the time to him, I can assure you. And even to his client, they felt it was urgent. So just like you said, Suzanne, if he would have went in and started freaking out, they would have freaked out. But when he went in calmly and just said, here's the situation, me as a vendor, any other vendor, employees should be vetted. They should be trained. There should be protocol. We're obviously going to have to let this guy go or like, and he took the temperature down for everybody.
Right. And sometimes we just need to breathe, right? Breathe and think before we react. If we breathe and think, we can respond, and that changes the entire situation. It's
you said
not
it perfectly.
A reaction.
He and I walked through a good 10-minute conversation, but really you could characterize that conversation as him just breathing, like him just really going, hold that. Really, it's so funny how I did walk him through the thing, and you might have said, just breathe. And he probably would have got to the same. He's a smart guy. He didn't even hold his hand and take him through everything. He just needed that space. Really well said, Suzanne.
Thank you. So we're going to get on to quadrant 4, but I want to review. Okay. So important, urgent, that is necessity, but manage. Those are the fires. Okay. The important, not urgent, that's our planning and our focus time. Quadrant 3 is the not important, the urgent, and there I'm going to suggest we try to avoid and delegate. Okay, now
or just not do. Some of it you can just do nothing about. Not all of it, but some of it.
Okay, and quadrant 4 is the not important, not urgent. And that's where we get into the trivia and the busy work. And because sometimes it's easy, that's where we tend to spend the majority of our time. So I really want you to recognize, super important, look at what you're doing and say, is this not important and not urgent? And if it is, I'm going to suggest you limit it or eliminate it.
And a lot of this can be guised in, well, we've always done that. Much of not important, not urgent is that's what we've done. I'll give you a perfect example of something you could just literally eliminate. Some of our clients have meetings or have the people pick up the supplies at their office every day. And that feels important. Well, if they don't have supplies, they're going to have to be urgent. They got to get going right now. Simple little bit of planning going, what if they came to the office once a week at a weekly meeting and they just refilled the supplies? Would that work okay? Well, then you just eliminated, say you got 10 people on your team times 4 days a week, not 5, because they do need to come sometimes. I can't even think of the time and effort. And it's just not urgent, not important. Like, you lose nothing. Actually, people get happy. They're like, oh my God, I'm so happy I could go right. I've been driving from my house to the goddamn office to someone's job that was 1 mile away from me back to, this is insane. So and again, the reason people go is, well, we've always done that. And it's just that emotional, we have to. But there's really once you kind of step aside and get an outside perspective, there's no urgency and there's certainly no importance. It's just a habit, probably more than anything.
Right. And that's probably where you'll find that in quadrant 2, in the important, not urgent, when you plan and you focus and you look at this. Well, maybe I don't have to do this.
That's exactly right.
Number 4, I just want to talk about very quickly. Number 4 is, let's change our words. If you walk around and you say, I'm so busy, I guarantee your mind will want to prove you are correct. And you indeed will feel fried and frazzled and busy and incapable of completing anything that's important, because you're walking around saying, I'm so busy. I'm going to suggest something else entirely. Pick what you want to say, but you could ask a really great question. How is it that I always have the time to do everything that's important? Your mind will want to prove you correct. It will be looking for the answers.
Even when what's important, just like I used my wife as an example earlier, sometimes she has a lot of work and sometimes little, but she always finds the time to get stuff. Like, the whole law of things shrink or expand to the time that you give them. So I love that question. It's genius, Suzanne.
Beautiful. That's it, Mike.
I had one thing to say when you said, what was the last? Oh, why am I always so busy? I want to give you an encouragement. When people come to us, they think that there's going to be this magic getting better at using their time and distribute. And it's not magic, it's sensible. But when they say like, well, that's eminently sensible. I have found, and you can tell me if it's a different percentage, Suzanne, but 30 to 70%, depending on the human, of the work that we do with people is getting them to get out of that belief that it has to take forever. I always have to be busy. I'm lazy if I'm not constantly working. So once we tell them what to do and how to do it, and kind of the logical parts of that box checked, it gets into but what does that mean about me? All sorts of weird beliefs. Well, if I've been busy for 5 years and not made any money, I can't possibly work 1/10 as much and make more money. Like, we just have that block and it kills us.
It's 80%, Mike. And but if I give up my busy, people won't respect me.
Gosh, that's so true. Okay. That is spot
but they
on.
They will respect you more.
Be
the owner. Step in, be the owner of your business, and manage things so that people can do their jobs better. That's it.
1000%. And be okay with, I think people want to ignore the, like, I know what to do and how to do it. They don't want to acknowledge the belief that can really hold them back. Be okay with, like, okay, I got to build how I look at this problem, not just what I do. Okay, guys, gals, we're trying to eat an elephant here in one little 20-minute slot. If you want more help, feel free to email me, mike@growmycleaningcompany.com. Go to growmycleaningcompany.com, check out our socials, our Facebook, all sorts of stuff, tons of free resources. Go get it. Do something now. Don't hear this, go, that's great. And then go to the next podcast. Take a minute to spend in that quadrant 2 and be like, all right, what am I going to do with this information to actually change my life? Go get it. Talk soon. See ya. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.